This is a Wild Games Production podcast.
Welcome to the D&D world.
Meet you by the art room door, in a circle on the hallway floor. I made up a new map last night. It's got a dragon and a wizard fight.
You guys have Uber in Arkansas, right? I know that's probably the most insulting thing I've ever asked you.
We do, but we might find somebody that could give you a ride easier, like a Courtney or a Carl.
Oh,
it's true.
Well, that would be very generous of a Courtney and or a Carl. I'll text you about that probably after the show, because this isn't the Arkansas RPG Con 2019 happening November 9th and 10th. It's the Save or Die podcast, a podcast about classic Dungeons and Dragons. I'm one of your hosts, Crispy, and for this adventure, I'm an alchemist that you can hire, and you have to pay me a variable amount of gold.
I am Carl, and for this adventure, this side adventure, I'm going to be a sage, and you can ask me questions about ancient lore.
And I am your host, Courtney, and I'm going to be a female dwarf with a braided beard.
That's
named,
awesome.
I forget her name. Graga. Sorry,
I was
y'all.
going to say Hilda the Great, but I guess there can be other dwarves, I guess.
With pigtail braided beards.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Hilda doesn't have a beard.
Oh no.
Graga does. It's how you can differentiate them. In case you meet them.
Yeah, because Mockstar dwarfs don't have beards.
Oh, see,
Right.
I should know that about this game I'm playing in.
Well, I only say that because Miss Star, I don't really care.
Anyways, this is side adventure number 21, and we're doing do we want to call this an email hot tub time machine, or
Not even a little bit.
all right, me neither. It's the Save or Die email, not a hot tub time machine.
It's the email sitting awkwardly around a table.
It's the email backyard party throwback barbecue fire pit s'mores making session. In 3, 2, 1. Anyways. So, we're just going to be answering some emails on this one. We've got a few that have stockpiled. Sorry we've been gone for so long. That is largely my fault. I've been moving for a month and a half.
Well, this is actually really a kind of a bizarre situation, and the reason why we're so behind on emails, and I apologize to everybody who's been waiting on our response, is the last show you heard was actually recorded before the 2 shows before it. And we kind of changed up the release schedule due to some Kickstarter deadlines that were kind of approaching. So you kind of got things out of sequence a little bit. And because not all of us were on the shows at the same time, we didn't do an email response segment because we wanted everybody to be there for our emails. So we're going to do it here in this side adventure.
Yeah,
So what we're saying is we're time travelers.
Yes. We're all Doctor Who's.
That's possible. I've seen multiple episodes where that happens.
Yeah.
All right. Before we jump into that, let's talk about what's been going on in gaming in our respective lives recently. This is a terrible segue. Courtney and Carl, what have you guys been doing?
So Carl and I have been introducing new people into Dungeons and Dragons and RPGs. It started off when my cousins came to visit, and we introduced them to D&D, explained it to them, and they were really excited about getting to play. And so we played a couple of nights in adventures with them, and it was a lot of fun. And it was like a month ago, and I don't remember the details. Carl?
Do you want me to expound on the details of the cousins, or just go on to the next thing?
No, you can if you... I remember Skelly Boy was one of the characters, and now we tend to call Skeleton Skelly Boy.
That has changed the whole vernacular of our. Is vernacular the right word?
Yeah, that's exactly the right word, actually.
Well, good, because pontificate has caused me to second guess myself.
Also a word.
Also a word. That is true.
We have lots of words.
No, it was really cool because, her cousins were in town, and they had asked about Dungeons and Dragons. I always try to like meter my enthusiasm for it because, like, I would play it like every day for the rest of my life happily, but I don't want to be like, you want to play now? You want to play now? Let's play some Dungeons and Dragons. You want to play Dungeons and Dragons? Let's do it. But they were enthusiastic about it as well. We played a couple of times, and it was really cool. Just seeing people play for the first time, and we got to do that a couple of times since we've last talked about gaming. So I ran a quick adventure. It was super basic. There was an ogre cave. The ogre was a bad guy. He was causing problems. There were goblin servants. There were secret doors and tunnels, and they were trying to locate a lost relative to someone they met along the way. I kind of based it around Keep on the Borderlands just because that's kind of my go-to scenario for introducing new people to games, but it was very loosely Keep on the Borderlands. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to get to game with them. We used both Theater of the Mind and minis while they were in town, so they got to do both styles of gameplay. So that was really nice as well.
Is that it for you guys? Anything else?
So I have been running Dungeons and Dragons Camp at a local game store, and it's 8 kids at a time come in and we play. It's 5th edition D&D, and for the most part, it's been just fantastic. But there is a standout moment I do want to talk about. We were playing D&D. It was 8 kids in the group playing. And, I'm just letting them just veer off into whatever wild destination they want to arrive to. And they keep trying to trap animals. They want to trap animals in this D&D game. So they were trying to capture animals, specifically magic animals, of course. So I of course, humored them, and they did catch an owl bear. And this is where it got really interesting because one of the players was playing a druid, and everybody else wanted to kind of capture and sell this owl bear. And the druid decided they were not for that, and they were able to cast Speak with Animals and talk to this owl bear and get to know it a little bit. And because of that, it created this rift in the party. There became this group that was for selling the owl bear, and there was this group that was for freeing the owl bear. And so what happened, during this chaos, and it's very chaotic, people are kind of yelling and shouting over each other, which kind of felt like what would be happening in the narrative of the game as well, so it kind of worked. The person who set the trap started auctioning off the owlbear to their fellow party members while the druid was trying to free the owlbear from the net, and rolled a stealth roll and snuck over there and started cutting open the net. And they're just like yelling over each other and trying to do this. And the person trying to sell Yellow Bear was trying to convince me that they would have seen the person. I was like, well, they rolled a stealth roll. We didn't oppose roll. You didn't see them. So you just got to auction it off. And then eventually it was actually Connor, my son, ended up buying the owl bear and then talking to the druid and setting it free.
No.
So after that, we took a breather and just talked about, one, how this is just a game, and two, the scope of the game, and how that wouldn't really be happening if we were playing Skyrim or any, World of Warcraft, any video game where these kind of dichotomies don't generate like that. It was very interesting.
So basically what you ran was... You ran like the Jack Lemmon movie, 8 Angry Kids.
I don't even understand the reference.
God, Carl. It's 12 Angry Men.
No, they're not familiar.
They're jurors and they argue over what's right or wrong.
Courtney
Right?
gets it. Yeah, it's like a classic. It's like a seminal American film. Carl,
He was
I'm gonna give
homeschooled.
up the show. It's just gonna be me and Courtney from now on.
Okay.
All right.
Oh goodness, I gotta talk about Gary Gygax Day though as well. Oh my goodness,
Oh, yeah.
we've
I saw the
gamed
pictures from Gary
so
Gygax Day.
much. We've gamed so much. Gary Gygax Day. Some friends of ours got together and we played Basic Expert Dungeons and Dragons. And we also in that game had a new person to Dungeons and Dragons play for the very first time, and it was so fantastic to see this person get so into it that they were literally jumping out of their chair and miming their bow and arrow during gameplay. And it's just always nice to see somebody kind of attached to it that solidly, that quickly, and get into that imaginary space. That
Other people don't do that because I definitely do that.
No, I mean, I think lots of people do that, but it's rare to see someone on their very first time playing the game grasp it that densely.
That's really cool.
Thing that I thought was really cool is the big monster we fought at the end actually ate some of our party members, and we were playing with scenery and miniatures, and our figures actually went inside the mouth of the monster, like physically, which was terrifying. And then there was a cool little piece that Carl had made that sat to the side, and so the people inside the monster could attempt at least to fight from inside the monster while we were trying to fight from outside the monster. So it was pretty cool because all of a sudden you like somebody would get eaten and we're like, oh my gosh, they're dead. Oh my gosh, they're just inside the monster. So
Oh, is it like a piece of like 3D terrain?
Yeah, I made it out of hot glue and cardboard. But yeah, and then there were like parasites inside the monster's belly that you had to fight while you were in there.
Huh.
So even if you got eaten, you were still like fighting. And then so we kind of had to decide, like, do we kill the monster with these people inside it? Like, is that bad? You know, or like, should we try and get the people out and then kill the monster? We didn't want to kill the monster while they were inside and then them not be able to get out. So we had to figure that part out.
That's also the game where Courtney played Graga, the dwarf with the braided beard. And I don't have a bearded female dwarf miniature, so I got to try my sculpting skills, and I sculpted a little beard on one of my dwarf miniatures.
Oh, yeah, that did look cool. I described to him how I wanted the beard to look, and yeah, it looked super cool. So maybe we can put a picture up of it.
I didn't get to do anything for Gary Gygax Day. I'm jealous. The only game I've gotten to play has been Magic the Gathering. So I'm playing an army of vampires, and my greatest enemy right now is an army of dinosaurs. So, like, I don't understand why people don't like Magic the Gathering. But that's it for me. I've been moving. Not tomorrow, 2 days from now, because we're recording this on a Thursday, I am gonna go play 1E here in town, and I'm pretty excited about that. We're gonna be playing the against the Giants through like Demon Web. Of the Queen of the Demon Web pits. Is that the name of it? Q1. So the G series to the Q series. There's like an ongoing campaign, and I'm super stoked to go and play that.
Cool.
Yeah. Courtney, would you like to read the first email?
I would. All right. Our first email is from DM Kojo. DM Kojo is...
Dikembe Mutombo Kojo.
I'm pretty sure that's what DM stands for.
Don Miguel Kojo.
Every time I say DM Kojo, can you say a different one?
Yeah. Diego Medina Kojo.
I'm just going to say it randomly now for fun. Okay. So, our email from DM Kojo.
Dom Marvolo Kojo.
Says, hello, sidecasters. I wanted to write in and let you know how much I'm loving the current iteration of Save or Die. When Mike, Liz, and Jim left, I faded out for a while. But I recently started listening to the Immortal Edition episodes, and I'm really loving the team of Crispy, Carl, and Courtney. I appreciate that you each bring a unique view on old school games. It is also evident that you do your research prior to each episode. It really shows in the quality of your discussions. Keep up the great work. DM Kojo.
Dwight Michelin Kojo.
DM Kojo.
Dorian Merle Kojo.
I like that he's been fooled that we prep at all.
We do prep.
we do a little bit.
Some of us prep more than others. We'll let y'all decide who's who.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, I had noticed that there was like a dearth of DM Kojo, Daisuke Matsumoto Kojo emails on the show since we took over. This is like going on 2 years now, almost. Is it that many? Jeez, wow, time flies. Yeah, and I was like, oh, like he never emails anymore. So it's nice to read those and get that feedback. Thank you so much.
To have some DM Kojo love.
Donatello Michelangelo Kojo. Do we have anything else to respond to DM Kojo? Decision Maker Kojo.
I love how Christy's pretending to be caught off guard.
Behind the scenes secrets. That's for the DVD commentary.
Sorry.
Yeah, what you'll actually find here in this scene, what's so interesting is that though it sounds improvised, I actually typed up a list of DM names about 5 years ago.
For this one moment.
Also, turns out that I'm actually British.
Do we want to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This one comes from Aaron D. Smale, the Welsh Piper. And he says, I thought people just recently resubscribed to Sod and am beyond pleased to hear once more the soothing assurance of DM Crispy's sage guidance. I thought you were gone from my life, Crispy, but I can listen again with confidence. Well done, DMs Carl and Courtney as well. This is peaking so badly. I'm so sorry, Carl.
It's all right.
This new trio is a welcome fit, and I'm really enjoying the show, especially the live play bits. Pure gold! 2 quick items. Carl's drinking game mechanic is hereby stolen. What a great idea to roll a die for each drink until reaching the PC's con. Deftly done! Crispy's impression of me in Adventure 150 was precisely how I sound in real life. I don't know how he did it, but the man knows! Thanks for reviving the podcast, Aaron, a.k.a. the Welsh Piper. P.S. I've heard mention of a Discord channel. Is that a real sort thing? I couldn't find it, but if it's out there, I'd love to join. I appreciate the compliments, and the Discord is real. It is not SOD specific. It is for all of Wild Games Productions and osrgaming.org, the forums, which I don't know if people still go to those. I'll be honest. I don't usually visit them that often. But yeah, there's channels for all the podcasts, and there's a pretty active general discussion chat, and there's chats for all the different specific D&D versions if you want to talk about those. But yeah, it's real, and there will definitely be a link in the show notes to this show to it.
Thanks for your compliments to the drinking game mechanic. In hindsight, I feel like maybe I should have given the dwarf a lower die. Like I should have let the dwarf drink beer as wine. But it was spur of the moment. But yeah, I've received a lot of comments on that drinking game mechanic. So I'm glad it was well received. Maybe I should do a write up and get it posted.
Is this the second email where someone has said that they're stealing it?
I believe so.
Because I remember someone else, corresponding and saying that they were going to steal your system as well. So you might be onto something.
I think it changes it, like, as a player, it changes it from, I'm going to the tavern and I'm going to buy some beer and this and that and the other, and, like, not really kind of all willy-nilly, because usually it's fairly cheap and it's not, like, part of it. And then, you're still trying to talk to people and figure out information, or maybe, like, the situation where there was an interaction that it directly affected. But
I love
having the role makes you, like, think about, do I really want to do this again. Like it
Mhm.
kind of made it more part of the situation.
I did like that you could kind of see how drunk you were getting to sort of like hedge bets based on that.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. Oh, Carl, do you want to talk about stuff, man? Are you okay?
No, I'm good now.
It was good. It was a great carousing mechanic. I think D&D doesn't have by default, but I think it is something that is easy to adjudicate and like would be easy to just staple on to any version of classic D&D.
I mean, I think any anything with a Constitution stat, you can do it. But
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't do it unless people were, partying or having a drinking contest or drinking to kind of get people to loosen up or talk about something. Then, well, every drink they take, you take a drink with them. Maybe this is affecting you as well.
Yeah. I loved that it wasn't just like Constitution checks, that it was a set die roll and you were building up to a total.
Right.
And then the inherent like difference between, Jan having a 15 Constitution versus me having like an 11 Constitution is, he's got that extra buffer, but there's still that chaotic chance.
Yeah.
With
It's,
the D6 rolls.
it's hit points. It's just hit
Yeah.
points. It's damage and hit points. Okay. We have an email here from Demos. They are emailing us. They're saying, thanks for the Mystara episode. They write, hey guys, thanks for covering Glenn's primer. Was nice for Mystara to get a little love from Save or Die. The podcast has always seemed to focus on low to intermediate level play. The Gazetteers were developed with a 36 level range in mind. You might consider having Glenn come back on the next time you cover one of them. One minor point of clarification. The sitting was originally referred to as the continent in X1 and the known world for the Gazetteer series. It only became referred to as Mystara in the mid-90s as a rebranding for the AD&D 2E conversion. Game on, Demos. That, I kind of thought that was the answer when I asked that. And his answer to that specific question of when did it start become known as Mystara, he put it a little earlier than that. And I don't know if maybe there's a reference to it somewhere that I'm not familiar with. I appreciate the clarification, Demos. I definitely am interested in having more kind of Mystara focused episodes as we kind of fill in the gap that has existed in the history of Save or Die of not really knowing a lot about that campaign world. And there's other campaign worlds that are attached to basic D&D, but not any as strongly as Mystara.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's the D&D world. Like, you put a coder in the machine and you get welcomed to it.
That's true.
Yeah. I was aware that it became Mystara when it got converted to 2E. I wasn't on that episode though, so this is on you guys.
This isn't a correction for Crispy. It's just a correction for me and Courtney.
I get to stay technically correct. All right, well, let's move on to the next email.
All right. We also got an email from Chris Holmes. Says, hey, I enjoyed reading your teeny book of rules. I will keep it in my work bag and try it out on some kids. Someone on MeWe suggested letting your players make up their spells. This seems kind of dangerous to me. Perhaps some guideline system is in order. I was inspired to upgrade the magic missile spell for my beginning player, and it made me think we might have a potential topic for your show. Spells to compete with sleep, you might call it.
The teeny book of rules referenced here. I had a rule set that my dad and I worked on that we were handing out at North Texas called Wizards and Heroes. It has not been published yet. I got some revisions to do for it, and once those revisions happen, I'll probably put it online at Ordinary Human Games. It is a rule set that relies very heavily on game master adjudication, and there are no listed spells. The players just make them up as they go, and the game master has to say, okay, let's tweak that here and there, and then you cast it. But it is a game that I have intentionally made to play with children who have boundless imagination and want to play anything from robots to ninjas to anthropomorphic jelly beans. So it's just the way I typically play D&D with my kids. And
I was gonna say, I know all three of those characters are Connor's characters.
Yes. And he used to always want to play a soccer ball with arms, and legs, and a face. That's exactly how he would say it. He would say, "I want to play a soccer ball with arms, and legs, and a face." And I can.
Hi, everybody! It's me, Saki, the 5th level fighter.
So yeah, it's kind of like a trait based, old school Dungeons and Dragons esque game. But I mean, so far it's not really been an issue. I mean, so here's the thing, and what kind of Chris Holmes kind of illuminates this point for me. I just didn't really worry about the spells being balanced because first level spells aren't balanced anyway. Sleep is clearly more powerful than ventriloquism.
It's the best spell.
Right. I mean, so why worry about whether or not the choices they make are balanced if the spell list isn't balanced to begin with? I mean, and it goes on through the levels. Fireball is a more powerful 3rd level spell than other 3rd level spells. It's just, it's not a concern. The spells aren't balanced, and I don't really even know that they should be or that I want them to be. I like the idea that there are these certain more powerful spells than others. There's these formulas that you can learn that those are the really powerful spells, and that, I think that's an interesting thing, not necessarily a negative.
I do like that system, just like sort of as it's been described here. Tim, my old co-host on Critical Wits, who was on Saber Die when we did the episode on the D&D arcade games, he has like an LLC, and he's made paper minis for people, and we took those to a convention once, and we were going to basically let people pick out a character and develop a special power based on just the look of the character. So sort of taking your mini and being like, this is their special ability, and they only get one, and there's not like hard fast limits on it, but like that was a super cool idea that we had. And this kind of reminds me of that, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's a very malleable system for character creation. Yeah, I've ran it for kids a couple of times, and I was actually very elated because the last time I ran Dungeons and Dragons for kids, at the end of the session, they asked if next time we could play Wizards and Heroes. I was like, oh.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I mean, I don't think it's outside of like the intent of the rules, which is, like here's a bunch of spells, but if you spend some gold and some in-game time, which is effectively nothing, like you can make your own spells, research your own, and develop your own, and like that's what you're doing.
And anytime you listen to the stories of like the creation of Dungeons and Dragons and all this kind of Wild West situation that it was, people were making up their own spells all the time.
Luke Gygax tells a story about like Melf's
acid arrow.
No, it's not Melf's acid arrow. It's the other Melf spell. It's like little globes of combustion or something like that.
Minute meteors,
yeah. Where he was like, I cast a fireball in a room and it killed everyone. So later on, I was like, I want like a contained fireball that I can control the area of. And his dad was like, all right, well, if you like spend this much money and go find these things, you can do that.
Yeah.
Which is what Wizards and Heroes is doing. I think that's really cool.
Well, I'll go ahead and quit talking about the silly little game I made, and I'll read the next email.
I thought I was reading the next email.
He is.
You're reading the next email?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Addressed to you guys.
Sorry.
All right. Next email. This one comes from Eric Champion, and it is addressed to Carl and Courtney. He says, hello, Carl and Courtney. In my head, you will always be the wizened fighter and Granger. but first impressions are like that. We played together in the Dwarven Forge ant colony gone wrong. I sat behind you two during the game, and in the game, I followed Granger into the tunnels and died. Two things. You seem like super cool people, and I'm going to make a point to play in one of your games next year. I had so much fun at that. Two, thank you for turning me onto the podcast. It's my new woodshop companion. Thanks for hanging out with me while I sand. I'm still wading into the OSR waters and trying to find / start a group to play with. My table is all slathered up in 5e, and I don't think I'm going to be able to hose that off. Champ.
Hi, Eric. Thanks for writing in. It was awesome to play with you. I'm sorry I led you into your death. It was not my intention, but there was a whole lot of big ants.
I played the wizened wizard. Crispy misspoke and said fighter, but I was a wizened wizard.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Elder Yon. I just didn't want Eric to go back and look at his email and say, "Did I say that?" But I had a blast playing Elder Yon. I've played him a couple times, and he's just a Gandalf parody, but he's hilarious to play for me. Eric Champion was great to play with, game with. He's a woodcrafter. He talks about sanding in his wood shop. He makes actual dice trays and kind of accessories for tabletop RPGs. That company's called Crafted Artifacts. You can find him on Etsy, etsy.com/shop/crafted artifacts. Some really cool stuff there. He showed us some of his stuff while we were playing. That was in Stefan Picorni's game, which was just fantastic. And he showed us his really cool dice tray that he had with him and was magnetized and stained and just looked awesome.
Yeah, I was looking at his stuff before the show. It's super nice, and we can definitely leave a link to his Etsy store in the show notes.
For sure.
Yeah, that's really cool. I know what he means about trying to like get a group of OSR play together, but 5e. It's I feel your pain. I feel your pain, champ.
There's always the internet, but that's not near as much fun as getting together with people.
Yeah, I mean, you can always look at Roll20, like, I guess Epic Words or Obsidian Portal are still things, or like Fantasy Grounds.
We talked a little bit about this, and I guess it bears repeating. I think, I think the easiest way to get people to try old school Dungeons and Dragons is to veer away from specifics. So like, don't say this is first edition AD&D. Don't say this is basic expert, 1980s, whatever. Just say this is a very simple, very easy to learn version of D&D, because I think you're kind of leading into the unknown territory as opposed to leading into this is going to be super easy for you. You're going to pick it up like that. And most versions of old school Dungeons & Dragons, when you're playing with a game master who's familiar with the system, are super easy because, the math is kind of all done for you beforehand. And it's just a little bit easier to play than 5th Ed, in my opinion.
I agree, but none of my friends do.
Sorry.
It's all right. Anyways, anything else we have to say in response to this one?
No, let's move on. I'm going to read the next email. It is also from Chris Holmes in response to Courtney and our recap of North Texas RPG Con. Chris Holmes writes, "The highlight for me was hanging out at the bar talking about weird movies. Thanks for your nice review, Courtney. Can't wait till next year."
Man, if only there was another upcoming convention sort of in that, part of the United States-ish that was coming up in, say, I don't know, November, where other people could come to meet up with, say, all three of the hosts. Carl, do you know of any conventions like that?
Super cool games with super cool people.
I do know of a convention like that. It's in Arkansas.
Tell me more.
I'm just gonna move on.
No problem.
We did spend some time talking about old weird movies, and it was funny because it was a group of us. Noah Green was there, some other people were there, and it was weird because like two of us would remember some old weird movie and nobody else would, and then two people or three people would remember some old weird movie and nobody else would. So it was just funny to see the selective memories kind of trickle through the group as people go, oh, that was so bizarre. Remember this scene and that scene, and it just sounds like chaos when you haven't seen the movie. So it was a lot of fun.
I know what you mean. Like, there are shows from the 90s that I thought I hallucinated until just browsing around on the internet, someone else brings it up, and it's, yeah, okay, that did exist. I'm not a crazy person.
Yeah, man, 90s cartoons were very strange at times. There were some very weird ones.
Mm-hmm. All right, we want to move on to the last email?
Yeah,
Courtney, do you have anything to say to Chris Holmes?
I was not at the bar talking about weird movies.
No.
I was asleep, I'm pretty sure, when this was happening. But you're welcome for my nice review. All right. Our last email for this segment is from a different Chris. It says, "Hi guys, I love the podcast and the recent Holmes edition was one of the best. A note about the octopus though. They have 6 arms and 2 legs, hence the 6 attacks. Holmes, being a medical man, would have known this too. Chris." Whoa, Chris. Not sure I can agree with you on this. I have 2 arms and 2 legs, but if I'm in a fight, I'm using all 4 appendages. Even though I have to stand on 2, or push or propel myself on 2, I'm still going to find a way to fight with all 4 appendages. I'm not just going to be like, oh, only 2 arms. That's all I got. Just saying, they make D8s. You could roll a D8.
But if you're swimming, I mean, do you feel like you would be able to kick effectively while swimming?
If my natural habitat was water, I think I would find a way.
If I'm floating in water, I'm gonna
land.
Yeah, like you're floating, you have buoyancy, so like if you're underwater, so. You can like grab a dude by like the lapel and like mule kick him.
Hold on, though.
Propel yourself off of him.
Hold on,
So now you're
though.
telling me an octopus can mule kick?
Hold on, though. None of this matters. You know why? I looked up this study. This study where they determined the arm use of octopuses, not funded by TSR, like we kind of theorized in that episode. This study happened in 2008. The Holmes Basic Book was written in 1977. This proves John Eric Holmes, Time Lord. That's my theory.
And it also proves that Holmes was never in a fight where he needed all his appendages.
There was so much buildup to Carl's thing
for time travel,
for like a Doctor Who payoff,
or possibly that he's just super ahead of his time. Like he's just like, you know what? I bet they're going to discover in roughly 40 years that octopi only use 6 of their limbs for manipulation.
They're cephalopods is what I think you're thinking of. Well, octopi works, but like I don't know, like I think Courtney's still right. You're gonna use all of them, and if you're underwater, you don't have to like balance yourself. So like you could do like a windmill slap. Just get all 10 of those in there, or 8 rather.
That's only
the only way to solve this is to go fight an octopus.
Let's start a ring of illegal underground octopus
I'm going to start
fights.
a GoFundMe.
It's going to be underwater, not underground.
It's going to be...
Somebody call Michael Vick and the guy who caught Shamu. Too soon?
Not too soon, but...
So, D&D rules, though, I, fighting a goblin... I have my 2 legs and my 2 arms. I still only get to swing my sword once. I don't get to roll for each foot.
But if you might only get 1, I don't know. They get 6
That's
turns.
player character rules, though, because an
That's
owl
true.
bear
That's
gets
true.
a claw bite.
That's true. But they don't get a back claw.
Well, no, because they're standing on them. But
Right? But if they were in water,
if they were in water,
All right.
oh, is that what we don't know? Is this octopus on land?
See a landopus? A
isn't
walkopus?
the octolay?
Oh, goodness.
With the water breathing spell?
Is that going to be it for the show?
So if you want us to argue over your crazy points, feel free to email into the show. Is that a bad segue?
No, you didn't say the email, though.
I don't know the email.
I mean,
Questions at saveordie.info.
Email into the show, questions at saveordie.info, and we'll argue over you. Wait, that sounds bad.
No, Chris Holmes is my friend.
We'll argue, cuss, and discuss your points. We don't cuss.
on air.
Most of the time.
Time travel, Crispy. Time travel. The only
I'm not-
explanation.
Well, he did kind of have crazy hair. I could buy it. I could see Sherlock Holmes being a Time Lord.
Questions at saveordie.com.
Info.
Dang. Questions. Oh, wait, do it again.
The whole Doctor Who song and everything.
I was going to say questions at saveordie.info over it.
It's all right. We got it.
All right.
The Save or Die podcast is a production of Wild Games Production, and it's produced for entertainment purposes only. The music used in the intro and outro is by Tripod and used with permission. Be sure to visit the Save or Die crew at saveordie.info for more information. If you'd like to support this podcast, please go to patreon.com/WGP.
Laugh at me, that's nothing.